the two moral systems are something that I learned about from Nietzsche. He ran into them. He first mentioned them in his book Ecce Homo. Not even sure what that means. Anyway, he just sort of did a blurb about it, and then he did an entire book, The Genealogy of Morals, about just that basic idea about where these moral systems come from and what they are. And there's actually lots of moral systems, lots of them. Frederick Nietzsche described how everybody sort of uses the share and share alike system at home, their circle. And then for the strangers, everybody does, you get what you pay for. And, in God we trust, everybody else pays cash. But that's not what I'm hearing. That's not what I'm talking about. Because that's the one, the economic system, the wider order system. Everybody goes back and forth between those. We close friends come into the circle. If you have to bail your cousin out too many times, they're out of the circle, that kind of thing. No, I'm talking about the two major moral systems that have been fighting forever. And there's different ways to describe them. Nietzsche described them in terms of good versus evil and good versus bad, which is a bit weird. Because wait, hold on, good versus evil, that's the two sides. No, there's a bunch of people who think in terms of good versus evil. They're the good people. They're out fighting the good fight against the evil people. We identify the evil people and eliminate them and marginalize them and put them down and use them for our own purposes because they're like animals. And the thing about the good versus evil system is that the people that end up in these fights, they both think they're the good ones and the other guys are evil. That's why it's so seductive. And in that system, whoever's good is determined by who's on top, which usually means economically or militarily. The good versus bad system is a completely different way of looking at things, and it's actually kind of a new idea. The good versus bad system, what Nietzsche also referred to as the aristocratic free system, as opposed to the master-slave system, is where good people are good because they know what they're talking about, and they're like correct and powerful for that. That's the right makes might system, as opposed to the might makes right system. The reason I bring this up is because once you're wise to this distinction, is because once you are aware of the kinds of behaviors that indicate that sort of trying to get on top behavior, as opposed to reasoning together to try and understand things together. Once you see that, you can't ever unsee it, and it'll blow you away how many people operate by this master-slave system. And the sick part is, the really sick part, is that the master-slave system was invented to help keep the slaves stupid so that they just sort of accept their role and maybe are a little bit happy about it. It sort of dims their view, like Frederick Douglass described, so that they're accepting of slavery, so that they don't think there's anything wrong with it. We can see how evil the good versus evil system is when we look at what happened in Rwanda, and that's not the only example. It's just one of the worst ones, where as soon as the occupiers left, they switched who was on top, and it became a bloodbath. It was outrageous because it invokes these awfulest of human instincts. So the things to look for, everybody plays that one-upmanship game where they're trying to be more smug than the other guy. And as soon as someone's in that game, you can sort of get wise to whether they're in the master-slave system or in the aristocratic free system by their standards of judgment, by what it is they use to try and decide who's on top. As soon as you see it, you'll never unsee it. As soon as you see people attacking people for dumb things in order to eliminate and marginalize them, that you'll know that they're working by the master-slave system. In the master-slave system, in the good versus evil system, the purpose of the good people, the role of the good people, is to subjugate the evil people. And the purpose of moral superiority is so that they can just abuse the schmucks. In the good versus bad system, the purpose, the role of the good people is to educate the bad ones so that they can sort of get their shit together and be like, good members of society again. And this actually creates a strange asymmetry where a person will come along and say, no, I think you're wrong about that. I think you need to change your mind. They're working from the good bad system, trying to help someone learn. And the other person who's operating from the good evil system will freak out and immediately assume that person is one of the evil ones that needs to be attacked. And so you end up with this strange asymmetry where the one person who's smart or cynical or kind enough to help this guy sort of break out of his fractured thinking is getting attacked by the guy who's actually, supposedly the beneficiary. That's unfortunately that is the lot of anybody who decides to take on the good versus bad moral system as their own. You will realize all these people don't know what they're doing and they don't care, and you're the asshole for pointing it out. This also is what Buddha described as the deep pit of liberation. When you break out of that fractured thinking, all of a sudden you're surrounded and you realize it's actually your job to help all these guys get free too. Here's the good news. It can happen. Once people deconvert, they never go back. That's the best part about it. All right, so I'll put some links in the comments about where you can find some of these original resources. I promise you, once you start to see it, you'll never unsee it. It'll freak you out. Good luck.